better or we can do worse. After 1929, nationalisms emerged, and then we had the Second World War. On other occasions, after a crisis, better societies replaced the old ones. I believe that these serious crises must lead us to a new awareness so that economic interests are no longer at the center of our attention. If we do not become aware of this, I believe that over the next few years, we will inevitably move towards a new crisis. And this is an important initiative, the one we have just organized. And I go back to your question. First of all, my congratulations to the two mayors. Giorgio La Pira, you know him. He was the unforgettable mayor of Florence. He was born in Pozzallo. I studied his works and his ideas, and Giorgio La Pira became a great mayor because he was a mayor. Because he was a mayor, not because he was a member of other political institutions. And he placed Florence at the center of the world. He met the mayor of Moscow, Beijing. He put together capitalism and communism. He grouped them together. And Giorgio La Pira believed, and I am convinced of this, he believed that history can be changed at local level and that the nation states' borders can change, but cities, they stay there, they don't change. They never change. So I think that this should lead us to rethink the role of cities. I believe that this phenomenon of migration in cities can be of particular relevance. I was listening to the Reggio Calabria mayor. He was saying that you have to see things for yourself. You have to live them. You should see those kids, you should see those women, but especially the kids, even very young ones, when they touch ground and they're scared to death. They've been crossing the desert, they've been tortured in Libyan camps, and they're so scared, they're petrified, and you just need to hug them, to make them smile, to make them happy. I believe that you have to see those things. You have to see them in person. And we have to involve schools. And this is exactly what we did in Pozzallo. We involved our schools. We let the schools witness what it means when you touch ground after a shipwreck at sea. Our school kids can be therefore mobilized as to the relevance of this phenomenon. For example, I belong to a center-left party. I still haven't understood what the position of the Democratic Party is or the position of the Italian government. I haven't understood. It's quite easy for populists to say, I want to kill migrants, I want to let them stay at sea. But still, I haven't understood what the proposal by the Italian government is. The Italian government has not taken into account the problem of migration over the next few years. So we have this recurring dramatic problem coming back over and over again, like the pandemics. But if we underestimate these problems, this is very dangerous. At the beginning of the pandemic, I had to talk to the ministries, vice secretaries, the ministry, to understand how the problem of the pandemic had to be tackled. Because the pandemic is indeed a major danger. But actually, institutionally, they are not forced to listen to you, the central institutions. But if you can't tackle the problem of COVID, people do revolt against you. People do not understand why migrants can walk around without having a swab and without being tested, why we have to remain at home. We, as mayors of small cities, are finding it very difficult to explain to our inhabitants why this is so. So what I'm asking is a greater willingness to listen to us. by central institutions. The Italian government, and let's forget about Europe, but the Italian government has to listen to us. The mayors, we are taking our own responsibilities. We are on the front line. We have to do our duty and take up our responsibilities, and we are doing that. My city has 20,000 inhabitants, and in 2016, we admitted 22,000 migrants. This is difficult. We are working on our part, but all the institutions have to take up their responsibilities, because otherwise, I think we will be in dire water in the future. And now I'd like to give the floor to another mayor, Thomas Weigel, deputy mayor. He represents Stefan Neha, mayor of Rottenburg am Neckar. We don't have Thomas Weigel being connected with us. He's been no, we can't. German mayor.
Bonjour.
We give the floor to Madame Suad Abderrahim.
Eccola.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonjour.
Good morning, do you hear us?
D'être parmi vous aujourd'hui.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and thank you for your invitation.
Le maire de Palermo, mon collègue, Orlando, pour l'aimable invitation pour la pertinence de la
Il problema è da noi o da lei, perché lei parla ma non ci sente, evidentemente.
En ce qui concerne la migration dans l'espace.
Thomas Weigel, mentre risolvete il problema con la sindaca. Thomas Weigel, hören Sie uns?
De Marseille pour ces déclarations très
Kann Sie hören? Ja, Kopfhörer und mein Lied zeigt die Kollegin aus Tunis.
Et ils sont plus importants
non l'ha capito che noi non la sentiamo.
Dans les 90, l'espace migratoire méditerranéen est en effet devenu, au cours des années 2000, le premier afflux dans le monde, dépassant l'espace américano-mexicain. Ils sont des centaines de milliers d'immigrants intégrés officiellement. Un lien fort entre les deux rives. Je voudrais, avec mon intervention, prendre le parti de ceux qui considèrent ce mouvement comme une chance pour notre continent maritime, mais aussi un modèle d'espace où l'on apprend à surmonter ses peurs, notamment la peur citée par les premiers arrivants. Là est le travail essentiel des maires qui consiste à ne pas empêcher le mouvement, mais l'utiliser pour le meilleur de toutes et de tous.
Is not containing these flows because it's impossible, but trying to manage these flows as best as we can. Now we have new initiatives. We have introduced training modules.
Nous devons reconnaître
and we have to recognize that the political context of migrations in the Mediterranean must not be judged based on the image, on the pictures that we are usually confronted with. In other words, only migrants on improbable boats and vessels or rubber boats, rubber dinghies. This is just one side of migration within the Mediterranean Sea. It does not represent the whole of the phenomenon, because most of migration flows occur legally. Of course, media then emphasize people smugglers, illegal migrants, but this is not the reality. It's just one side of it. Of course, we are aware that there is a danger.
Une reconnaissance juridique locale
There is an example of Spanish municipalities who grant legal status to migrant kids and admit them to their schools, regardless of their legal status. And so there is a policy of legality for these minors, and not just for minors, also their families. What is important is the action by French media vis-à-vis the southern Mediterranean Sea. Now, the Mediterranean Sea is a crossroads. It's not a war. Of course, the crisis does exist, but as far as these migration waves are concerned, we believe that it is important to convey a message. The countries facing on the Mediterranean have to meet, because migration is a fact, is a geopolitical fact in the Mediterranean. So we need a coordinated management of migration flows. Of course, cities have to be involved, because mayors play a major role. So the diplomacy by the mayors can be used to avoid the dissemination of fake news. Because there is not just illegal migrants coming to us, or coming to you rather.
Un double sentiment identitaire. Le premier est attaché au
in the countries of destination,
depuis sa naissance. Le second,
these migrant people feel that they have two origins, because they feel connected with their countries of origin, but they also feel connected with their countries of destination. But at times this might be a reason for conflict. And mayors can manage this conflict in the most appropriate way through culture, for instance, through cultural initiatives that they can adopt at a municipal level. It is therefore important to act with cultural initiatives. The consequences can be very important for the future, especially when it comes to ensure a peaceful coexistence within the various districts where you have local inhabitants coexisting together with migrants coming from different countries. Thanks to air and maritime transportation, the Mediterranean seems to be able to play the role of a bridge among three different continents. We have to remove physical obstacles to mobility. Transportation is of paramount importance. The 21st century shows us that there is a diversification of migration flows within the Mediterranean Sea, because there are different corridors, there are different routes. And there is also a diaspora process. Migration in the Mediterranean Sea highlights the need for our countries to belong to a common space. There are no differences. There are no borders, there are no frontiers within the Mediterranean Sea, within this Mare Nostrum. And this should be a principle included in migration policies. This is why I believe that we also have to focus on vocational training for those who have social responsibilities in adopting these policies. We have to create networks to solve the problems of migrants and to grant them basic services. We have to protect the human race as a whole. There is a very important recognition which is necessary. We are not leaving our countries of origins because we want to do that. The Mediterranean Sea has become a graveyard, but we have to bank on safety and security. The crisis has to do with migration policies, with the lack of resources. Municipalities don't have the necessary resources to do what they would like to do. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. So you heard from the mayor, sort of. I mean, one thing that will come better, I think, with all the alliance will be communication between the mayors. That you will see them and you will hear them, and I think that will be important. Now, I don't know if he's alive, Thomas Weigel. Is he live or is he recorded? Weigel, Deputy Mayor von Rottenburg. Is he live or no? Well, I just go on. What do I do? Yes, I see him. Okay. Thomas Weigel, guten Morgen. So you have been very strong in stressing that the Greek hubs are not acceptable. So you visited Moria and you said we have to save those children. And of course, I mean, the very stupid question is why, I mean, welcoming some refugees, breaking up the families, even though you save some children, is that the right answer, or what do you mean? I mean, how do you think that this alliance should help your administration, and how should it move forward?
Zunächst, die diese Veranstaltung organisiert hat, mein ganz besonderer Dank geht nach, mit dem ich ja im letzten...
Herr Weigel, leider verstehen wir das kaum. Moment mal, dass die Techniker da irgendwie, hoffe ich, zu einer Lösung kommen bald. So, well, now you see how important it is to understand oneself, and time, as Luca Orlando said, time is important, because now we have to wait for the mayor of Tunis, and probably we are still waiting for him. Time and understanding is crucial in a small thing like a conference, but even in the big and real issue. Herr Weigel, hören Sie uns? Herr Weigel?
Yeah.
Magari qualcuno della regia, se mi fate un cenno. Come, scusa? Sì. Okay, we are trying to get him on board. And let's see how I think, well, probably if it takes more than, I mean, could shift to the afternoon round table, and I don't know if we should proceed for a wrap-up. Well, probably it's difficult to... What does that mean? Tomorrow? No? Cosa vuol dire, scusi?
Yeah.
Andiamo avanti, ok. Beh, andiamo avanti e, come dire, andare avanti vuol dire... Qui finiscono le due tavole rotonde e, come sapete, queste due tavole rotonde molto complicate. Io, ovviamente, ringraziando tutti i sindaci, e non era scontato, non era facile, che sono venuti da tante città in Germania, in Francia, sono venuti da Atene, da Tirana, ma questo è un lavoro collettivo e di tante persone. Io ne vorrei ringraziare tre, perché personalmente mi hanno aiutato moltissimo: Giulia Fellin da Berlino, Costanza Reuscher da Palermo, insieme a Carmine Fotia. Io ora penso che è giusto lasciare le parole conclusive alle due personalità che hanno ideato questa alleanza. Luca Orlando.
developed this alliance, Luca Orlando and Mayor Schubert from Potsdam. I wish to thank Costanza and Giulia and Carmine, and especially Maria. Maria, who decided to be here with us. Let me just establish a connection between two couples of cities, Pozzallo and Lampedusa on one side, with Flensburg and Bergamo. Pozzallo and Lampedusa, just as Reggio Calabria and Palermo, they have conveyed a clear message. They are cities which have lived the experience of being on the front line, the first arrival, the first impact, whereas Flensburg and Bergamo didn't go through the same experience, they didn't live the same experience, and maybe they are more clear-minded than we are, in the sense that they can establish not just how to better assist newcomers, but also they can reflect on how to ensure dignified living conditions to them. So we still have that request we want to convey, which is that of rescuing lives in the Mediterranean Sea. And I'd like to highlight this concept once more. If I were to come from Nigeria or Ghana, and were I to be at sea, risking my own life, I would like to ask to be rescued, even if I know that maybe I'm being sent back to Ghana or Nigeria, but I want to leave. That's my first request. I want to be rescued. So regardless of the policies that you might have with admission quotas, reception, and so on and so forth, the first thing is to rescue human lives. Is there any one of you who don't want migrants? I say no, but still I insist we have to rescue these people when they are at danger at sea. And maybe we can send them back to their countries of origin. This is the core question. Life is the core question. This is why we talk about genocide. But the issue also has to do with what comes later. I found an extraordinary agreement between Flensburg and Bergamo in what the mayors said, in the sense that they maintained that once emotions are over, once the first impact is over, we can either reassure our citizens by talking about legality, or otherwise populism is inevitable. Flensburg said that legality is necessary, but a new legality is necessary. And this is precisely what we're trying to suggest to Europe. Not so much closing our eyes in the front of illegality, but to change the current legality. Why should we take care of asylum seekers when they have the right to asylum in the state of first arrival, when it can't be France or Germany, clearly, it is going to be Italy or Greece, even for those who aim at going to France or Germany. So we want to be visible, first request. We want to be listened to. We are asking for a new legality based on respect of human rights and recognition of human rights. This is the first request. And then secondly, I want to be optimistic in the face of so many catastrophes that could happen with elections and special political elections. All the mayors who've taken the floor, and I have Falco Mattei in front of me, these mayors have been elected and re-elected, despite being fair of admission policies. So possibly the idea that our people are intolerant is wrong. Intolerance is not in our inhabitants, is in the lack of political clarity of those who want to help migrant people. Roberto Amatuna, the mayor of Pozzallo, said, I belong to a political party. I do understand and do not share the position of populism, but still, I don't understand the positions taken up by my own party. This is what Amatuna said. Mayors sometimes are anomalies, anomalies within their own parties. And I think that is the message that we should all bring home. No, I'm not talking about nation states, about positions of their own parties. We cannot organize a European Party of Mayors, I believe. Maybe, yes. Why not? Why not? But still, we are not. We're not having this initiative in mind. However, we are asking each and every one of you, not just Europe or our nation states, but we're asking our parties to put things in order and to contribute to establish a new legality. Thank you.
Und nun Mike Schubert. Ich meine, das ist die letzten Monate von Angela Merkel und deshalb ist es Wahlkampf bald bei Ihnen in Deutschland. Das wird sofort Reperkussionen haben, auch auf die Städte, auf die Politik und auch auf wie die Leute eben halt dem Thema zugehen.
Ich glaube, dass das, was wir heute hier miteinander verabreden, mit Sicherheit Auswirkungen auch auf das hat, was...
I believe that what we are discussing today will certainly have an impact on the debate in Germany. Nevertheless, I want to thank Leo Luca Orlando for his words, because he rightly highlighted that, first of all, we have to rescue lives at sea. This is our duty as human beings, and then there are other steps that can be made. But first, we have to rescue people who are risking their lives at sea. This has nothing to do with migration. This has nothing to do with admission. It is a humanitarian problem. And I like to quote Morini, who said, migration is going to stay with us. This is not something we can get rid of, despite the fact that we have various policies available to contain migrations. But that is going to be the new reality. We have more than 7 billion people on our planet. Of course, we can change our name. Instead of from the sea to the cities, we can change it from the world to the cities, because we have to help people to find dignified housing. We have to be brave and honest. We often talk about demographic changes and other aspects. We need this new attitude of clarity, of honesty. I've listened to wonderful examples from Bergamo with the Academy of Integration. It's a wonderful example. We've heard from Marseille, very interesting proposals. These are approaches that we do support. Indeed, right at the beginning, I had the hope that cities could do more than nation states. And this is true. We can demonstrate they can do more. Let's go back to populism. Together, we can do something. Together, we can change things. And the greater the number of partners that we have, the better it is. But we don't need a new party. We are already strong enough, thanks to all the members who have joined our alliance. We have a strong voice. The more we are, the better it is. The more we are, the more they will listen to us. So over the next few months, we will have to launch a campaign to disseminate the usefulness of our alliance. And then they will have to listen to us. I believe that our alliance of safe havens is the first step. And I'm really happy to be able to work with you.
Pause und dann geht's weiter. Ihr werdet von beiden.
Let's make a short break now.
Aber das ist nun mal die zweite Rundtafel.
We will give the floor once again to Leo Luca Orlando and to Mike Schubert.
Und danke für die tolle Moderation.
I wish to thank all of you for all suggestion, and thank you for having stayed with us and have.
Funziona? Sì, sì, allora, scusate, abbiamo avuto già un primo incontro con la stampa durante l'intervallo. Avevamo programmato di immaginare che ci
meeting
fosse
with the press, we thought we could meet the press again. So I think it is appropriate, and I'm telling this to all my friends mayors. It will be a great opportunity to give the floor to non-governmental organizations which promoted this meeting. Alina and Luca Casalini should take the floor because they should give their contribution. We're going to make a video with all these interventions and statements that together with what the mayors are going to say is going to be a final video.
During the pause. And now we imagine that it can be interesting just to see all together. But first of all, what is important is to let speak just the NGO, the not governative organization, and I mean Alina that is not here, and Luca Casarini that is here. So I think that first of all, we're to give the floor to Luca Casarini. After Luca Casarini, every one of us can say 2 words, 3 words, probably 4 words, no more. And then we can have just a video, just collecting all the different opinions at the end of this morning. If everything is okay, let's start with Luca Casarini. Ok. Perfetto. Perfetto. No, come? L'amadoro io. Allora, adesso volevo pregare di Costanze moderare.
Kindly ask Costanze Roche to moderate, to chair this conference. I've just introduced it. So please, Costanze Roche is kindly asked to chair the conference.
Si chiama il bello della diretta.
This is what it means to broadcast live.
Können Sie mich hören jetzt? Sie können mich doch jetzt nicht hören. Ja? Ja? Auch über den Kopfhörer. Über den Kopfhörer?
Va bene, allora grazie a tutti, innanzitutto e soprattutto ai tanti sindaci.
Most of all, I'd like to thank all the mayors who have participated in these 2 days. Then we are going to speak about the consortium that gave life to this meeting. The consortium is made of mayors, activists, movement that all over Europe is cooperating to generate the new legality Mayor Mr. Orlando was speaking about with a bottom-up approach. They're working with a grassroots welcoming approach, working with municipal institutions, but also rescue at sea. I'm here because we're working on the Mare Ionio ship. It's the first Italian flag ship with a Palermo flag. Then some more recent news. Open Arms has been desequestrated in Potsdam. The mayor, Mr. Amatone, is there. So open arms has been acknowledged as being ready to rescue a sea. Rescuing a sea is part of this cross-sectional network we want to build. Not to sit hands in hands, not to turn our back on some things. We cannot look at the Mediterranean Sea as a large cemetery, a place where big crimes against mankind are made. And then I think we got a lot of hopes for this network, the network of mayors, the network of cities. We are here talking about, as far as the European Union is concerned, member states yesterday proposed Turkish and Libya models. If we carry on with these two horrible models, they focus on pushing back violation of human rights, they focus on refusal. They are speaking about a European fortress. They do not speak the language of modernity, future, of dealing with issues from the practical viewpoint and looking at the future at the same time. If we carry on like this, unlikely our brothers and sisters, children, men and women will die or will be tortured in Libya with the funding of the European Union. This is something we cannot accept. Our hope is to build networks that can practically respond to this situation. It is not true that the only action can be that of helping during emergency. We need to plan a management of what is happening in our world. 84 million people are forced to migrate. We've ensured the status of political refugee to 215,000 only. This is not possible. We need to make people visible. We need human rights to be something that all human beings can and should enjoy. Because if some people enjoy human rights and others do not, we're going to build up a world which is just made of war, and we are for peace. Let's start this in September. We'll have another gathering as activists in Palermo. Thank you so much for your commitment.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Luca. Yeah, I'll be short. Seebrücke is a grassroots movement from Germany, Switzerland, and Austria that advocates for safe pathways to Europe and has been basically at the roots of this idea of municipal reception by welcoming cities. And thanks to our Safe Harbor campaign in Germany, over 260 cities showed their willingness to receive and welcome refugees. However, there is a need to put forward an alternative European solution with human rights at its center. Seebrücke, as a co-founder of From the Sea to the City, along with many other civil society organizations, are here today because the EU governments have been unwilling to act to solve the ongoing humanitarian catastrophe at EU borders. While the EU governments only provide the excuses, the cities and civil society of Europe came here today to say, we have the solution. This solution is a voluntary municipal reception across Europe. Thousands of people are stranded in EU border camps today, and hundreds of people died trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea this year alone. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can end this suffering tomorrow if we want to. We're here to back up the demand of the welcoming cities to finally have a seat at the negotiating table. In our vision of welcoming Europe, no one is left behind, nor the refugees seeking shelter at European shores, nor the Greek, Italian, and Spanish coastal cities exposed to the EU government's policy failures. We are here to stay and to show how the real European solidarity looks like. Thank you.
Grazie. Allora, io direi che siccome siamo in ritardo e sono molto contenta che voi due avete anche parlato in questa occasione ora, aprirei alle domande dei giornalisti innanzitutto, prima di fare magari qualche altra parola di chiusura. Chi vorrebbe... Non so se abbiamo qualcuno in collegamento. Ecco.
Costanze, das Mikro muss dahin.
Mi sentite? Buongiorno a tutti, quindi Piero Minar di Palermo Live, volevo rivolgere una domanda a tutti i convenuti, in particolare al sindaco Orlando. Poco fa qualcuno dei sindaci intervenuto durante la tavola rotonda ha detto che la regione siciliana e lo Stato italiano la regione siciliana e lo Stato italiano erano assenti ingiustificati sul tema migranti. Poco fa a livello europeo si è parlato anche del ruolo che lo Stato italiano ha giocato, con una paralisi, possiamo dire, anche determinata da quelli che sono i paesi di Visegrad, dalla linea dei paesi di Visegrad. La domanda è: cosa potrebbero fare di più appunto l'Italia e la regione siciliana sul tema migranti?
Io desideravo chiedere a Roberto Amatullo di sedersi con noi, perché lui ha detto esattamente, ha detto quelle critiche sulla posizione della regione. Io credo che nella scaletta che ho fatto si evidenzia quello che è il senso di questa iniziativa. Io ho iniziato prendendomela con l'Unione Europea e me la prenderò sempre con l'Unione Europea. Poi ho continuato prendendomela con il mio Stato, lo Stato italiano. Poi ho proseguito prendendomela col mio partito per mancanza di chiarezza. E adesso tu poni un tema che riguarda la linea politica di questo governo nazionale in questo momento. La mia richiesta è molto semplice. Noi non possiamo che esprimere grande apprezzamento al Presidente.
Of course, we can appreciate Mr. Draghi, the President of the Government of the Council of Ministers. He managed to get the resources. However, can we ask also Mr. Draghi, who was very clear in his words when it comes to respecting human rights as for the draft law Zan, can we ask Mr. Draghi to dedicate 1/10 of his authoritative European position, not to get billions of euros, but to get a new legality in Europe, which is respectful of rights. This is true when it comes to Sicilian region. The mayor of Potsdam mentioned that. Please allow me to say, who has seen that? Nobody has seen that. Tanquam non esset, in Latin. I don't know who put the question from the audience. I'm the mayor of a town with 20,000 inhabitants. Some years we welcome many more people than the number of actual citizens. Do you think that for such a small town this is ordinary? Do you think that a town can be abandoned to its own devices without any help or support? We could get quite a wide number of supports in the I do not have social workers at municipal level. Is it so impossible for a national government, for a region like Sicily, to help the municipality and provide the municipality with some extra help with some other experts? I do not have traffic wardens enough, and in summertime, just to give you an example, someone from Eritrea or Ethiopia goes to the beach and goes swimming naked in front of young ladies. Then the traffic warden, the local police is called, then the mayor is involved. That guy is used to go swimming naked. It's normal for him to do that. But without the city police, this is not possible. It is so complicated for the national government to give 10, 12 more city policemen. We could get maybe some more financial help. These are small things that help you be more comfortable when it comes to the management of a healthcare system, and then manage these huge flows of thousands of people who are landing on our coastline. However, it's these small things that give you the opportunity to fight populism, intolerance, racism. You must have people calm when they are involved with these minor things. Not just do we welcome with more humanity, and we do this in our small town, and we have people more at ease, because sometimes we know that there are some news that try to scare the public opinion. Sometimes people in Potsdam, in my town, do not even know that there are migrants arriving. Sometimes TV is there, the radio is there, and they are warning that these people may bring the virus for COVID with them, and they scare our citizens. I do not want that the alibis culture would disseminate. We do not want alibis to be used. Each of us should play their own role. The mayors and the press are working properly. Now we are looking forward to seeing what the institutions could do. If these issues are underestimated, big problems are going to rise from that. Thank you. I'd like to fully share your statement. I'm optimistic. I'm a strong optimistic. Pozzallo is a town in 2016 hosted 22,000 migrants with just 20,000 citizens or inhabitants. There was not a single case of racism. Maybe this explains why the mayor has been elected several times, even if he's saying things which are not so favorable for elections, if the mayors are not clear. Of course, between a photocopy and a genuine copy, you always choose the genuine. I do not want to be a copy of Salvini. I prefer to be a rough, bad alternative copy to Mr. Salvini. Auto microphone. I'm sorry, the journalist is not using the microphone. Thank you. Can you please tell the chair to use the microphone? Thank you.
Questo funziona? Sì? Funziona? Sì. Ok, allora no, volevo dire grazie a tutti.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to thank all the mayors. I don't think there are other questions from the audience. We still have some minutes, maybe for individual interviews. Maybe you can go up on the terrace to have a light lunch, and then we will carry on in the afternoon with an internal meeting. This is very important for our colleagues. Mayors are going to speak for a couple of hours because the most important part and session of the day hasn't taken place yet. There are people from all over Europe. They need to speak with one another. It's important to get to know each other more closely. The European policies are sometimes quite far from reality. And then we got people who are integrated, they cohabitate, but they need to be in a network so that migration policies can improve in Europe. So that is the most important session. Mayors will speak with one another without the public. They will have to decide on how to move forward. It is the very first time they are speaking in such large numbers together. They need to get organized and see what they're going to do in the future together. There are still mayors who are connected through the internet, who will be connecting through the internet between 3 and 5. And then another important session for the press, they're going to sign a paper. They're going to sign a statement. It's a starting point. It's a springboard on how this work for the future will have to be structured and organized. We've got a draft of this paper which will be discussed. Amendments will be made in the future, and then at the end of this internal meeting, there'll be the signing of this document, if they agree, of course, upon it. And it would be nice if the press participated in the signing, during the signing of the statement, because that's the starting point for the alliance. It will be between 5 and 5:30, because we won't have a long table. We will pass on the paper to sign. Of course, they're going to speak about the debate of the working table. There'll be people from Germany and other European countries connected, mayors sitting here. Luckily, a small number of those who are participating. The exact number of those we will have later is something we can say after. So if you can be with us again, it would be very nice. For those who would like to have personal interviews, you can please go ahead and do that. For those who just want to relax after your long journey, you can go up on the terrace and have a light lunch.
Andiamo sopra al pranzo, chi vuole.
Lunch. Then we resume at 3 p.m. with an internal meeting here.